Have you ever imagined that the Sahara Desert, the largest hot desert in the world, could be completely closed? This enormous territory of sand and scorching heat that covers much of North Africa has become a restricted area overnight. But why? The story begins with what seemed like a routine expedition. A team of scientists armed with advanced technology set out to explore an uncharted part of the Sahara Desert. They weren't wandering, they were following satellite data revealing strange formations buried deep beneath the sand in a remote region. These shapes matched nothing recorded in scientific literature. Using ground-penetrating radar and other instruments, the team began a meticulous survey. What appeared on their screens was extraordinary, an enormous structure concealed under layers of sand, untouched for millennia. The expedition was led by Dr. Amelia Sanders, a renowned archaeologist known for her work on ancient African civilizations. Alongside her was Dr. Raj Patel, a geologist who had spent decades mapping the Sahara's shifting terrain, and Dr. Leela Chen, a climatologist skilled at decoding ancient weather patterns embedded in rock and soil. Now let's talk about what they actually found. An enormous ancient structure. It was an entire city, frozen in time, untouched for millennia. The first thing they came across was a gigantic stone entrance, partially collapsed but still standing proud against the shifting sands. The craftsmanship was extraordinary, with precision that would be challenging even with modern tools. As they carefully removed more sand and debris, it became clear that this wasn't a single structure but part of an extensive underground complex that stretched far beyond what they could initially see. The walls were adorned with intricate reliefs portraying strange, almost supernatural scenes. These weren't typical ancient art depicting daily life or religious ceremonies. Instead, they showed creatures that looked like hybrids of animals and humans. Figures with elongated limbs and unusually large eyes, engaged in activities that defied easy explanation. Inside the structures they found chambers filled with artifacts that challenged everything archaeologists thought they knew about ancient civilizations. There were tools made from materials that didn't seem to belong to this era or region, mysterious symbols that no known ancient language could decipher, and what appeared to be advanced mechanisms that seemed impossibly sophisticated for their apparent age. It was as if this civilization had possessed knowledge and technologies that should have been impossible for any ancient culture. The implications were staggering and deeply unsettling. Do you believe this discovery proves that an advanced civilization existed long before any known in human history? If you think yes, please comment number 1. Within days of the discovery, local authorities were notified, and they quickly recognized its extraordinary significance. This was not a routine archaeological find that could be managed through academic institutions. The implications were far greater. Governments across the region were alerted, prompting urgent meetings involving environmental agencies, archaeological departments, security forces, and international organizations. The decision to close access to the Sahara came with astonishing speed. This was not a small restricted zone around a dig site, but a sweeping shutdown of an area comparable in size to the entire United States, an unprecedented action in modern history. Coordinating the closure required immense logistical effort. Governments of Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, Libya, Egypt, Mali, Niger, Chad, and Sudan, each responsible for portions of the desert, mobilized resources to secure their borders and interior regions. International bodies, including UNESCO and several environmental NGOs, were brought in to assist with preservation and scientific assessment. UNESCO's involvement proved especially significant. Early evaluations suggested the site's potential qualification as a World Heritage Site, elevating it to global importance. This ensured that preservation efforts would adhere to the highest international standards, and that scientific study would proceed under strict oversight. Security rapidly became the foremost concern. A protective perimeter was established around the site to prevent looting or damage, enforced by coordinated military units from multiple nations. The operation included aerial surveillance, ground patrols, and advanced monitoring systems, far beyond a typical archaeological safeguard. Next came a full safety evaluation. Teams assessed structural stability, environmental hazards, and possible health risks from materials buried for thousands of years. Nearby communities were temporarily evacuated as a precaution. Entire families, many of whom had lived on that land for generations, were relocated to ensure their safety and preserve the integrity of the site. Authorities worked to manage the displacement humanely, providing housing and aid in nearby towns. Yet for those residents, leaving their ancestral homes because of something long buried beneath the desert sands was a profound and disorienting experience, one that marked the beginning of a mystery far larger than anyone could yet comprehend. Enjoyed the video? Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss our upcoming journeys. Tap the like button to let us know this content is making a difference. And if you're watching on your phone, be sure to press the hype button right below. Every hype helps this video get published to more people, and it truly supports me in earning extra income. I promise to keep bringing you even more great content. The team's initial reaction was a mix of scientific exhilaration and disbelief. For Dr. Sanders, it felt like uncovering Atlantis in the heart of the Sahara. They immediately grasped the potential historical significance of their discovery, but also the need for extreme caution in handling it. They established a secure perimeter around the site and began detailed documentation. Every artifact, symbol, and architectural feature was photographed, measured, and cataloged. Protecting the find until proper study could begin was their highest priority. Dr. Patel was fascinated by the geological implications. The materials used in the structures, he believed, could reveal new insights into the Sahara's ancient environment and its transformation over millennia. Dr. Chen, meanwhile, focused on the potential climatic data hidden within the layers of sand and stone, traces that might rewrite parts of Earth's environmental history. Then events began to slip beyond their control. News of the discovery spread rapidly. A few excited graduate students shared cryptic posts online, and within hours, local journalists caught wind of the story. By the next day, it had reached international headlines. Media coverage was relentless. Some reports cautiously described a lost civilization beneath the Sahara, while others jumped to extreme conclusions, claiming alien technology discovered in the desert. News crews crowded nearby cities, desperate for any footage or confirmation. Public reaction was explosive. Speculation spread across social platforms and news outlets. Some believed the site proved the existence of a forgotten technologically advanced civilization erased by catastrophe. Others claimed evidence of extraterrestrial involvement or government concealment of historical truths. Conspiracy theories multiplied at astonishing speed, each more elaborate than the last. Leaked images, misinterpreted data, and unverified claims fueled a storm of misinformation that overwhelmed any attempt at control. Amid the global frenzy, credible scientists and historians urged restraint. They emphasized the importance of peer-reviewed research and careful verification before making conclusions. Yet their voices were largely drowned out by the noise of speculation, as the world's fascination with the discovery grew into something far larger and more unpredictable than the team had ever intended. In response to this media frenzy, the scientific team issued a formal statement describing their discovery in general terms and emphasizing the absolute need for careful, methodical study. They promised to share their findings with the broader scientific community and the public as soon as they had concrete, verified data to present. However, the initial excitement and wonder quickly began to turn into something much more concerning. Reports started emerging that some team members had become seriously ill after entering certain chambers within the ancient complex. The symptoms were unlike anything the medical team had seen before, and they couldn't immediately identify the cause. There were also disturbing reports of strange sounds emanating from deep within the structures, sounds that didn't correspond to any known geological or atmospheric phenomena. Electronic equipment began malfunctioning in ways that defied explanation, with compasses spinning wildly and communication devices experiencing unprecedented interference. Local guides who had initially been fascinated by the discovery began expressing deep unease. They spoke of ancient curses and warned the scientists that some things were meant to remain buried and undisturbed. While the scientific team initially dismissed these concerns as superstition, the mounting evidence of unusual phenomena began to give even the most skeptical researchers pause. This combination of factors prompted immediate government intervention on an unprecedented scale. Authorities imposed a strictly enforced no-go zone around the entire site, citing both security concerns and the critical need to preserve the integrity of what might be the most important archaeological discovery in human history. Security was dramatically tightened, with access restricted to an extremely select group of researchers who had undergone extensive background checks and specialized training. The closure of the Sahara Desert was officially announced through coordinated government statements, and all tourism, commercial activity, and non-essential travel in the region were immediately suspended. The sudden closure of the Sahara had immediate and far-reaching consequences. Tourism operations that had run desert expeditions for decades were shut down overnight, devastating local economies dependent on that income. Scientific research unrelated to the discovery was suspended, forcing teams from around the world to abandon or relocate their projects. Yet global curiosity only grew stronger. People wanted to know what could lie beneath the sands to justify sealing off an entire desert. The mystery drew intense public fascination and speculation. Once the site was secured, specialists from across the world began arriving to conduct formal studies. Dr. Sanders and her team found themselves collaborating with experts in archaeology, geology, climatology, linguistics, and material science, many exploring connections none had anticipated. Initial findings were groundbreaking. Radiocarbon dating of organic remains indicated the civilization had flourished at least 12,000 years ago, predating Egypt and Mesopotamia by millennia. This revelation forced historians to reconsider long-held assumptions about the origins of complex societies. Dr. Patel's geological analysis deepened the mystery. Many of the construction materials were not native to the region. Some originated thousands of miles away. This implied either vast trade networks or large-scale migration, suggesting that early civilizations were far more interconnected and technologically capable than previously believed. The transportation of massive stone blocks across such distances challenged accepted ideas about ancient engineering. Dr. Chen's climatology team uncovered evidence of ancient river systems, lakes, and extensive irrigation networks, proof that the Sahara had once been fertile and capable of supporting thriving communities. But geological layers also revealed signs of a sudden and catastrophic shift that transformed the region into a desert in a relatively short time. As data accumulated, competing theories emerged. Some proposed that the lost civilization had developed advanced knowledge of agriculture and environmental engineering that sustained them for millennia. Others argued that an abrupt natural disaster, perhaps climate collapse, volcanic activity, or an asteroid impact, had forced their extinction. More speculative voices suggested extraterrestrial involvement, citing unusual artifacts and alien-like figures in the artwork. Meanwhile, linguists struggled to decipher the strange symbols covering the structures. The inscriptions followed clear patterns, hinting at a complex written language, yet no translation effort succeeded. Its meaning, and the truth behind the civilization, remained locked in silence beneath the desert sands. The discovery and subsequent closure of the Sahara raised serious environmental concerns that went far beyond archaeology. Despite its harsh image, the Sahara is a fragile ecosystem that supports species that are uniquely adapted to its extreme conditions. The sudden influx of researchers, security forces, and equipment risked disrupting ecological balances that had endured for millennia. Every vehicle and temporary structure threatened to damage habitats formed within the desert's delicate layers of sand. Excavation posed its own dangers. The buried city lay beneath strata that had developed a microenvironment sustaining specialized desert life. Disturbing these layers could permanently destroy those habitats. Contamination was another major issue. The site had been sealed from the outside world for thousands of years. Introducing modern microbes or pollutants could irreversibly harm ancient organic materials preserved in the dry environment. Conversely, there was concern that ancient pathogens trapped within the ruins might endanger researchers or nearby populations. The unexplained illnesses affecting members of the original team only deepened those fears. Environmental scientists called for strict protocols to minimize damage, restricting access, prioritizing non-invasive methods, and conducting full environmental impact studies before any excavation. Conservationists argued that the site's scientific value must not come at the cost of irreversible ecological harm. The discovery also reignited debate about the Sahara's long-term climate history. If the region had once supported rivers, vegetation, and human life, what could that reveal about its future? Climatologists suggested that studying the ancient city could provide vital clues about how the desert might evolve under modern climate change. Evidence of recurring wet and dry cycles throughout the Sahara's past could prove crucial for understanding global climate dynamics. Insights from this research might ultimately reshape how humanity prepares for environmental transformations still to come. Do you think the potential environmental risks of excavating the buried city outweigh the scientific value of uncovering it? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe and follow the channel to discover more interesting things. The implications of this find extended far beyond the borders of the Sahara, or even Africa itself. If the artifacts and structures revealed new technologies, agricultural techniques, or engineering principles, the applications could have global significance for addressing modern challenges. Imagine if researchers discovered ancient techniques for water management that could be applied to current drought-stricken regions around the world. Or if they found evidence of sustainable agricultural practices that could help feed growing populations without depleting natural resources. The potential applications were limitless and exciting. Furthermore, the discovery could fundamentally influence how humanity understands and responds to climate change. By studying how this ancient civilization had adapted to dramatic environmental changes, modern societies could gain valuable insights into resilience and adaptation strategies. The economic implications were also significant and immediate. The complete closure of Sahara tourism affected not just local communities, but international travel companies, adventure tourism operators, and research institutions that had planned expeditions years in advance. Governments and organizations found themselves trying to balance the protection of what might be the most important archaeological site in human history, with the need to support communities whose livelihoods depended on desert access. The access protocols established for the Sahara site were unlike anything seen before in archaeology. Only a small group of approved researchers and officials were permitted entry, each undergoing extensive background checks, medical screenings, and detailed safety briefings. Those granted access followed strict environmental and health procedures. Specialized protective gear, full decontamination routines, and limited exposure times were mandatory to protect both the site and personnel. Every movement within the ancient structures was logged to preserve integrity and minimize contamination. Communicating the closure to the world became an enormous challenge. Governments had to justify restricting access to one of Earth's largest regions without revealing sensitive details that could cause alarm or jeopardize the operation. A series of coordinated public statements emphasized preservation, security, and the scientific importance of the find while urging patience and cooperation. Information was released across all major media channels, television, radio, official websites, and social platforms. Despite consistent messaging, the unprecedented secrecy fueled speculation and misinformation. Authorities were forced to balance transparency with caution as global interest continued to grow. To manage public concern, teams were created to provide factual updates, address rumors, and coordinate communication among the involved nations. Hotlines and information centers were established for citizens seeking reliable details about the closure and its implications. Regular press conferences featured scientists and officials answering questions while carefully protecting confidential aspects of the investigation. Social media monitoring groups worked continuously to identify and counter false narratives, conspiracy theories, and potentially harmful speculation. Educational outreach campaigns explained the importance of archaeological preservation and the need for controlled study. The overarching message remained clear. The discovery was of extraordinary significance, but it demanded patience, precision, and global responsibility. To grasp the magnitude of the discovery, it's necessary to understand what the Sahara has represented throughout human history. The desert was not always an endless sea of sand. Thousands of years ago, it was a fertile region of rivers, lakes, forests, and grasslands that supported diverse wildlife and flourishing human settlements. Archaeological findings across North Africa reveal traces of advanced societies that once thrived there. Among them were the Garamantes, who built intricate underground irrigation systems to transport water across vast distances, sustaining agriculture in cities in what would later become one of the driest places on Earth. The Sahara also served as the crossroads of ancient commerce. The trans-Saharan trade routes linked African kingdoms with Europe and Asia, moving gold, salt, ivory, and spices, but also spreading languages, technologies, and beliefs. Caravans of hundreds of camels carried wealth and knowledge across immense distances, connecting civilizations and giving rise to cities that became centers of culture and learning. Even in modern times, the Sahara has remained a source of fascination and exploration. Tourists, adventurers, and scientists alike have been drawn to its immense beauty and harsh mystery. For researchers, it has offered a window into Earth's climatic past, its rock layers preserving evidence of ancient weather patterns and life adapted to extreme conditions. All of this came to an abrupt stop with the discovery beneath the sand. The complete closure of the Sahara halted tourism, research, and trade in the region. But the reason went far beyond protecting an archaeological site. Authorities recognized that what had been uncovered had the potential to redefine our understanding of human civilization, environmental evolution, and the deep relationship between humanity and the planet itself. Despite strict restrictions, research at the Sahara site continues at an unprecedented scale. A multidisciplinary team of global experts in archaeology, geology, climatology, linguistics, and engineering is conducting the most comprehensive excavation in history. Using LiDAR, ground-penetrating radar, and satellite imaging, they have mapped an immense underground city spanning several square kilometers, revealing architecture of extraordinary precision and unknown engineering methods. Artifacts made from unfamiliar alloys, intricate tools, and undeciphered inscriptions suggest a civilization far more advanced than previously thought. Carbon dating indicates the site predates known civilizations by millennia and was occupied for thousands of years. Astronomical chambers aligned to ancient celestial events and sealed rooms with apparent warnings have deepened the mystery. Geological evidence points to a sudden environmental collapse, massive dust storms, and vanishing water sources that ended this civilization. Some records suggest its people foresaw the catastrophe, possessing remarkable knowledge of climate and environmental science. What began as a routine expedition has become a discovery that may redefine human history. The discoveries made in the depths of the Sahara have opened a window into a lost world that challenges everything we thought we knew about the past and raises profound questions about the future. What do you think about these incredible discoveries? Could this ancient civilization hold the key to understanding how to survive dramatic climate change? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for more incredible stories about the mysteries hidden beneath our feet. Don't just stop at the like button, hit that hype when you watch on your phone too. It only takes a few seconds, but it helps this video reach way more people. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for being with us. Leave a comment, like to show your support, and remember to hit that subscribe button for more exciting videos. See you next time.